6月25日、日本時間24日、米国時間に行われたドジャース対ツインズ戦でロサンゼルス、ドジャースは4対3で接戦を制した。主役となったのは、投打二刀流で出場した大谷翔平だった。序盤、大谷は若手捕手ダルトン、ラッシングとのサインや配球面で呼吸が合わず、失点につながる場面もあった。マウンド上では珍しく感情をあらわにし、緊張感が走った。しかし、そこから大谷は一気に立て直した。打席では適時打を放って反撃の流れを作り、投球では3者連続三振を奪うなど、圧巻の修正力を見せた。ムーキー・ベッツの通算300号本塁打、打線の粘り、ブルペンの踏ん張りもあり、ドジャースは逆転勝利。試合後には、大谷の投手とリーダーシップに称賛の声が集まった。波乱の中で見せた大谷の進化とは何だったのか。続きはぜひ動画でご覧ください。
Hi, Allie. Well, for Shohei Ohtani, he has truly been excellent this season. Of course, he is very much in the conversation for the National League Cy Young. The numbers and the stuff has been excellent. But if you look at his last two outings in specific, he's given up 8 runs, 7 of them have been earned. So it's clear he just hasn't been as sharp. Dave Roberts today talked about Shohei and what he's been seeing from him as of late.
I think that, the last couple haven't been ideal. I think what's led to that is, honestly, with most pitchers, is just command. And I think that the fastball command hasn't been there to his kind of expectations. The sweeper command hasn't been there to his expectations. So I think that it's not gonna continue for too much longer. So tonight, I know he's in a good place physically, emotionally, mentally. So hopefully it's a good one tonight.
He had talked about the knee inflammation and how he's past that, but could a portion of maybe this lack of command have been due to just those things and having to deal with that separately?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. I check in with him all the time about the knee, and as does the training staff, and there's nothing from what we hear that's affecting him. So we're certainly keeping a watchful eye on him. And, he was even confident that he should and wanted to hit today. So that's a good sign.
What do you think about that blister? Because when you see blood on a player's pants, everybody thinks it's pretty severe. Is it as severe as it appears when you see that?
No, it's not. I do understand that, when you get the blood, how kind of, what the thought is. But whatever it is that we put on the protective kind of aid, came off, and that's what led to it. So I'll let the umpires know that it's there for that purpose, and I don't expect us to see any blood tonight.
When Shohei Ohtani was dealing with that left knee inflammation and when he had the imaging done, it presented that the fluid was primarily on the backside of his knee. And even he shared that he believed the inflammation was coming from how he was landing coming down the mound with his delivery. He shared that he was going to work through a few slight mechanical changes to try to offset that, just to put himself in a better position to not have to manage that inflammation. So coming into this one, he is ultimately feeling better. He has made a few adjustments, but now the big question has been that blister. He has shared that it's a non-issue. The Dodgers have shared it's a non-issue. It is going to be covered and protected for this game as it has been the last few. We saw it bleeding later in the game in the last one, but they do believe that the bleeding is a thing of the past, so they're not too concerned, but they will keep an eye on it, guys.
Good stuff as always, Kirsten. We appreciate you, and I do want to dive into Shohei, guys, because for the past 7 Wednesdays in a row, Shohei Ohtani has been the starting pitcher for the Dodgers, and when you think of a 6-man rotation and 4 of the next 5 Thursdays off, it just feels like a Shohei day.
It does, and I love the fact that it is a Wednesday for show. And now he has those days off right after he pitches and hits. And I love the fact, manager Dave Roberts said that he talked to Shohei Ohtani, he said, I want to hit. That means he feels healthy, he feels strong, and he understands that, hey, I have that day off the next day, so I can really air it out on both sides of the ball, hitting and pitching. So I think the biggest key is not so much his knee or his stamina. I think the biggest key is the blister. So we're going to be monitoring the blister as the game goes along tonight, and hopefully it's not an issue, and hopefully he gets past that issue.
You see Shohei on Wednesdays. The Dodgers were planning this. They wanted to really get guys and see what a 6-man rotation, but also guys from Japan, this is what they did. They pitched once a week. So to get them back on their schedules that they're familiar with for Yamamoto to try to help them out, for Shohei, obviously, because of what he's doing. It's one that's familiar, but the other thing, obviously, is to protect the guy who's the two-way player and what he does that we haven't seen. So that's the reason why the Dodgers are really trying to do that and keep it consistent. Here's your Wednesday. Also, Shohei, he's like a robot, guys. When they're around him on a regular basis, like a robot. So keeping a routine and knowing what you have to do to prepare yourself both to hit and to pitch, and knowing that it's consistent. Here's that it's every Wednesday. Here it is. You probably also look at when you're in a certain place, because you're always playing on Wednesday as well. When you look at that and you're probably in a place, it's not like you're just flying in the night before or anything like that. It's part of a series at times. So those all factor in, like how he can be consistent on his routine to do what he's doing and what we're amazed at watching.
Yeah, he's a funny robot. He does talk some trash. He hurt my feelings last homestand, but we were not going to go into it later.
No, shall we? Shall we?
Well, I was supposed to protect Shohei. I dropped the ball because I didn't want to dive, and he just said that, oh, Jay Harris, that's why you're on TV.
Yeah.
There's always a story before the story. Thanks for bringing it to life, Jay Harris.
Yeah.
I'm still hurt by that.
You're still hurt. You're still hurt. Well, and he hasn't apologized, which I don't expect him to. But I think
I was going to say, nor should he.
Yes.
All right, moving on. Here is today's injury report. It's brought to you by Keck Medicine of USC. Teoscar Hernandez began a rehab assignment in AAA Oklahoma City yesterday, and in the third inning, he had a 2-run homer to left. Teoscar is having a grade 1 left hamstring strain that has sidelined him since May 29th. We are heading to a break. Shohei Ohtani leads all players in the first round of All-Star voting. Continue to vote for Shohei, Max, Andy, Freddie, and all the deserving Dodgers. The first round wrap tomorrow afternoon. Shohei on the mound at the bottom of the hour. Hits and 7 earned runs. Certainly not what we expect when he is on the mound. Nomar, what do you expect from him today?
Well, listen, I know they said it's not an issue, but we keep talking about the blister. Listen, blisters are always issues for any pitcher. They have it under control. If they have it under control, I expect him to go out there and be Shohei that we've seen. And I think he expects a lot of that out of himself, especially after the last couple outings where it's been late in his outing. It hasn't been early when he's been dominant. It's been more that third time through the lineup.
Yeah, that is the issue. I know fans are getting sick of hearing that word blister. I know it. Well, Shohei Ohtani, obviously a very important piece on the mound and obviously in our lineup. Hopefully it is not an issue tonight.
The Dodgers, they go for the series sweep as we headed out to Minnesota. Joe Davis, Eric Karros have the call. Guys, take it away. Enjoy the game, everyone.
All right, John, the first leg of this three-city trip coming to a close tonight from Target Field in Minneapolis. And Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers looking for the sweep over the Minnesota Twins. We welcome inside Joe Davis and Eric Karros. A tight win on Monday night, 2-1. The offense exploded last night, 12-3. Well-rounded effort for the Dodgers to get this trip started.
Yeah, everybody's really been contributing. It's been the pitching, the defense, the offense. So the first night, it was just a couple of swings of the bat, some power, and that carried over into last evening. Eric Lauer set the tone the first game of the series. Justin Robleski followed it up. Shohei's going to finish it off tonight. But the Dodgers have been contributing on all facets, and that's why they're where they're at right now.
We've got an awesome pitching matchup for you here in the finale of this series. Joe Ryan goes for the Twins. He's been one of the best pitchers in the American League, and of course it is Ohtani for LA.
Yeah, this is going to be a wonderful matchup. At least it looks that way on paper. You see what Shohei's done. The last two starts haven't been typical Shohei, so he's looking to right the ship. Season as a whole, it's still a 1.47 ERA, so it's hard to say, hey, what's going on? But he's looking to get better tonight. Joe Ryan, he's been as good as anybody in all of baseball. Look, too, he could be on the trade block. There are a lot of ball clubs that are going to be interested in him.
All right, a lot of talk about some injuries around the team lately. We've got just the person to give us the latest update. Down to Kirsten Watson.
Thank you, Joe. Well, on Monday, we saw Dalton Rushing exit the game after taking a foul tip off of his mask to enter concussion protocol. After the game, when he spoke to the media, he did say that he was shaken up at first, but as the game went on, he was feeling better. He cleared tests on Monday as well as on Tuesday. But yesterday, Dave Roberts, when he spoke to the media, he shared that they wanted to stay away from him. He was available off the bench if need be, but luckily due to the score, they were able to do just that, staying away from him. So he comes into this one feeling really good because Dave likes the idea of him working with Shohei Ohtani while Will Smith is down, guys.
All right, Kirsten. Ohtani grounds one through, base hit center field. Freeland's in to score, and he takes one back. So a 3-2 game. Ohtani's given up 3, but he's knocked 1 in. And the Dodgers back to within a run. Wasn't hit hard, but certainly effective right there. Showed getting us back within a run. And I shouldn't say it. Certainly didn't sound hard, but classified as a hard hit ball, 95 miles an hour off the bat. Even when he mishits it, I mean, doesn't even try. He's got a few milestones that he's either on or about to get. Cranks another base hit. This one into left field. Hit it so hard that they'll stop Ohtani. And on a day where he's pitching, not wanting to push him any harder than they have to. Mookie Betts is 2 for 2, and the Dodgers have loaded the bases. 2 for 2 with a home run and a hard hit single. So if you ever wondered who is the better athlete, the bowler or the water polo player, it's been answered right here. Yeah. Muncie's been on fire lately in big situations. 7 out of his last 12 with runners in scoring position. Ground ball base hit. He stays that way. Ohtani's in to score. Freeman stopped at third. It's 3-3. Dodgers punch right back. Home with a 1-2 pitch. Yeah, we talk about the receiving end of it too. Here, also look at the challenge part. This is earlier in the game. Shohei was like, I want to chat. I want. And Dalton said no. And this is another one later on. I want to check. This one, he wasn't going to make anybody question. He started hitting his head hard. Strikes out Larnach and ends this inning, but the Twins get 3. The Dodger battery clearly not on the same page so far tonight. Fastball to the knees, strike 3. Buxton challenges, and he will
batter's challenging the pitch.
ABS is powered by T-Mobile. Ohtani's going to get his 3rd strikeout of the ball game. 1 gone in the 3rd.
Confirmed. Minnesota has 1 challenge remaining.
That's not a, since we're on our theme of challenges today, and I didn't even bring it up. The ball club has brought it up to us. That was not a good time to challenge. 2-2 pitch to him. Swing and a miss, and back-to-back strikeouts for Ohtani. Shohei not messing around. The last 2 hitters showing a little, you know what? Little red blank. You surprised? No, not at all. I don't know that I've seen him this edgy. Yeah, I guess that's a safe word to use. Home with an 0-2. Strikes out the side in the 3rd. I like edgy Shohei. Boy, oh boy. 6 pitches and 6 strikes and 2 Ks for Lewis. And a lot of non-competitive swings. I mean, just not seeing the ball well off Ohtani. And Ohtani put him away right there with his sinker. His first at-bat, put him away with a sweeper. Very similar type approaches by
Mookie, you had things going on both sides of the ball tonight, but when we look at the numbers offensively, you had 3 hits, and one of them happened to be your 300th home run. You are hitting so many milestones here soon. When you think about 300 and when it comes to the home run, how special is that achievement to you?
I mean, it's special, I guess. It just means I'm old. I've been here for a long time. But, I guess it kind of comes with the territory. I've been pretty good, and just got to keep on helping the boys win.
You look at just the numbers right now offensively, those 3 hits, you're a triple shy of the cycle. But how much confidence are you just feeling back at the plate right now, considering the results you're seeing now?
I mean, I'm feeling pretty confident, feeling pretty normal. I know I've said it before, and then it didn't kind of pan out. But I feel like this is a little different, so we'll just ride the wave.
When you look at how you guys won this game, I know it started with Shohei, but to see this bullpen, how they fought through to pick up this win, what are you just seeing from the guys coming out of the bullpen?
They did an amazing job just keeping them off balance. I know we got in a little bit of trouble, but they got themselves out of it. Shohei had a little misstep early, but he was able to kind of settle in. So the guys are just resilient, and it showed.
Do you think it was settling in for Shohei, or did you feel like there was another edge after that second inning of work?
It was probably a little bit of both. I mean, once he was able to settle in, and when he gets fired up, he's already the best player in the world, but when he gets fired up, it's even better. And so at that point, we were just kind of sitting back and watching the show.
This is a three-city road trip. How important is it for you guys to start on such a high note with a sweep of your first team against you guys are going to be seeing?
Super important, especially going into San Diego where we're going. We know they're going to be hungry, and I'm ready to go, so at least we can go in with some good vibes.
All right, Mookie, congratulations on this win, and congratulations on 300 career home runs.
Thank you.
Shohei, can you just walk us through that second inning? It's clear that there were a couple emotions, maybe some frustration. Can you just describe what happened there?
2イニング目いろいろ表情にいろいろ出たんですけども、何が起きたのかとか教えてき
全体的にやっぱりそのイニング、1イニングもそうでしたけど、やっぱ迷いながらこう投げてる感じはあったので、それがこう球の質的にも出てたのかなとは思います。
It's the first two innings. Actually, I wasn't quite convicted in a lot of the pitches I wanted to throw, so I think that's what you saw.
Bouncing back from that inning, though, did it feel like how you finished this game was with a little extra conviction or a little extra energy or maybe edge to your game?
その後は結構決意持った投球だったと思うんですけども、何かそう感じてましたか？
もう自分でそのなんていうんですか、組み立てであったりとか、球種の選択だったりとかっていうのをまずこうやってみようっていうのがなんていうんですかね、いい投球の一つの要因だったのかなとは思います。
Yeah, I just took the initiative to really game plan and just have a plan of attack for each hitter, and I think that's what you saw.
Were you and Dalton having a hard time getting on the same page early in the game?
ラッシュとちょっとなかなかいい感じじゃなかったっていうか、何か。
そう、ゲーム前にもね、いろいろミーティングをしますし共有はするんですけど、やっぱそのゲームの中で、組み立てであったりとかっていうのも変わることもありますし、そのバッターの反応であったりとか、なんていうんですかね、どういう感覚で打席に立っているのか、それによって回帰もまた変わってくるので、これ一つということではなくて、まずコミュニケーションしっかり取りながらやらないといけないのかなとは、前回もそうでしたけどね。
Yeah, I think we talked through the hitters, pre-game meetings, before the game. It's something that we always do, and it's something that it's more of the in-game sort of flexibility, just reading the swings, reading how the hitters really taking the approach during the game that I see where where the adjustment needs to happen. And in that sense, I think we just, I personally realized, we just have to be on a better, on the same page and communicate throughout the game.
So the early frustrations obviously became a big story of the game. I'll start with you, Jay Hare. The early frustrations, how he was able to get composed, fight through it, and then obviously what he was able to do at the plate after.
Well, listen, I love how Show was completely honest, and this translator, Will, did an outstanding job really kind of conveying what was going on between the pitcher and the catcher, Show and obviously Dalton Rush. That's going to happen. That happens throughout the course of a game sometimes. Definitely is going to happen a few times throughout the course of a season. Here, this is we call a cross-up. Dalton Rushing is expecting a breaking ball, something off speed, and obviously Shohei Ohtani throws the fastball, and that's why you see Dalton Rushing missing. See, he looks back confused. I thought I put down a breaking ball, and then Show said, no. The last pitch you called was a fastball. That's why they have this meeting on the mound. I was going, as I'm moving, that's the pitch I'm going to call. So obviously they weren't on the same page on that particular pitch, and really they weren't on the same page with the challenges. Shohei Ohtani got pretty aggressive, wanted Dalton Rushing to challenge. You see Shohei kind of go to the tag. Hey, that's a strike. Why don't you challenge that? That pitch right there, that's a cross-up, by the way.
Yes,
Dalton Rushing was able to save it. You see Show, no, that's a strike. They challenge, and obviously Show was right. So, again, this is going to happen. Show throws up to Will Smith a whole lot more than Dalton Rushing, but they got on the same page. It happens. There's going to be some frustration. This is the big leagues. You see Freddie Freeman, a great leader on this team, making sure he talks to Dalton Rushing. You see manager Dave Roberts talk to Dalton Rushing. This happens over a course of a 162-game season. This is going to happen. And you know what? I love that it happens, because sometimes you need to kind of go through some of these type of things to make sure things are ironed out. So if this happens in the postseason, guys are familiar. Hey, we are able to adjust on the spot and a lot quicker.
Right, and listen, right now, he is the catcher because of Will Smith being hurt, right? And then Will Smith comes back, you never know what can happen, and you have your backup, so they have to get on the same page. And Jerry's exactly right. You might have these issues, and when you have these, sometimes you need explode, because sometimes they're just kind of festering, and sometimes there's things, and this is when they do kind of come to light. It's like, now we can finally get on the same page. You get your point out, I get my point out. Let's go. All right, what are we going to do the next time, and how do we get back on track? I'll tell you what was really impressive was Dave Essay's question was really good, is how does he control it? But also the other thing, and we mentioned it, is right after that second inning, Shohei really settled in. He strikes out the side in the third, the fourth. He gets out of some jams, but some help from his defense. But at the same time, the other thing that changed too, he started calling his game. And he even mentioned that in his interview. He started calling the game and say, okay, here's what I want. And whether they weren't on the same page, whether they weren't seeing things the same, that's one thing. So it's the pitcher's game. And it's like, listen, okay, then I'm just going to start calling it. I'm going to go. And Dalton's like, fine. You know what? You're seeing something. That's fine. Let's go. And let's go get these guys. You know, it's not saying, listen, Dalton, you're wrong. But do we still want to keep miscommunicating, or just say, hey, what do you want to throw? You're the pitcher. It's always your game. It's always up to the pitcher. You always see them able to shake off a guy if they don't feel that pitch or want. You see that all the time. Now it's like, hey, he has pitch come. You call it. Let's go. Let's get these batters.
Here's another thing, and I want fans to realize this happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
When a pitcher is feeling a certain way, okay, I feel this is my game. I played with Zach Greinke. Zach Greinke at times called his own pitches. I played with a guy like Cal Ripken. Sometimes at shortstop, and you know this, he would call certain pitches at certain times. The shortstop is calling the pitches. So it happens throughout the course of the season. When the pitcher says, you know what, I got it, I remember the game plan, you know what, I'm going to deviate from the game plan, takes the pressure off the young catcher, say, you know, we're going to deviate, we're going to make an adjustment. Don't worry, I will call the pitches. There is nothing wrong with that. It happens a lot more than people think. Yep.
You saw leadership from Shohei. You saw it in the dugout, obviously, with Dave Roberts, with Freddie Freeman. Bottom line, they got on the same page. They got the job done. You learn from this, you move forward. Here's what's ahead on the Dodgers calendar. Of course, an off day tomorrow before the Dodgers take on the Padres this weekend in San Diego. And on Monday, for the first time ever, the Dodgers play in Sacramento. Friday on Fox, all others on Sportsnet LA.
Dave, we were just talking with Dalton. It's clear that he's very frustrated with how tonight has gone. And even, I mean, he kind of alluded to maybe the last few games have gone for him. When you have a young player, what is it like just helping him kind of manage these emotions and get through this time and get through a game like today?
It's a work in progress. I mean, he's such a, he wants to do really well and expects a lot of himself. And so, when he's not doing what he expects, then he gets frustrated. And I think the good thing is that he still understands his priority is to, serve the pitchers and be behind the plate. But yeah, the last few games, he's had a tough go of it and swinging through some fastballs, which is a strength of his. And so, yeah, I mean, it's still tough to hit, and he's still having a really nice year for us and helping us win a lot of ball games.
How did you see just kind of that second inning play out, and then he and Shohei, the two of them, get back on track and kind of handle the rest of their outing?
Yeah, they were just kind of out of sync early. You could tell. I think both guys were frustrated and trying to, get on the same page. I thought Mark made a good visit and trying to settle some things down, get them on the same page, and then after that, it went really well. So, yeah, that third inning was kind of a tough one, but fortunately the offense came back and got us a lead and didn't relinquish it. But, yeah, I think just trying to keep those guys in sync, which at times has been a little bit of a challenge.
今回も最後までご視聴いただき本当にありがとうございました。動画の内容を楽しんでいただけたでしょうか。もしよろしければチャンネル登録と高評価をお願いいたします。皆さんの応援が今後の動画制作の大きな励みになります。それではまた次回の動画でお会いしましょう。